What is it like introducing a guy to your dad? I think terrifying for the guy. For me, hilarious, because my dad's like pretty socially awkward. Like he said, he's has Asperger's. Like to me, it's so funny. But for guys, I think they get like really wigged out. But honestly, like I think like now it's become easier for me because it's just funny. Like when you introduce a guy to your dad, and it's like, depending on how he reacts, that's how you know if he's going to be a good guy or not. Such a good point.
Madam, you think you're awkward, but you too, you are socially awkward. Can you see, guys? Did you see how she talks? Can you see it? Like, I think my dad is socially awkward. Nobody talks like that. Nobody talks like that.
I think terrifying for the guy. For me, hilarious, because my dad's like pretty socially awkward. Like he said, he's has Asperger's. Like to me, it's so funny. But for guys, I think they get like really wigged out. But honestly, like I think,
Madam, it runs in the family. Before you point accusing fingers on anybody, just know that four is, when you're pointing like this, at least 3 hands are pointing towards you, 3 fingers. So, but I want to talk about the general points they are making in that podcast when she's introducing a guy to the dad. And many people think, well, they prefer the way the foreigners doing it, the Western world. But in Africa, African parents will behave exactly like the way she's describing her dad, right? African parents always frown at their daughter bringing in boyfriends, They always want to start asking different questions immediately to know whether he's man enough. Is it for marriage? You can't just bring a boyfriend to your African dad's house. You're entering trouble. Some of us don't understand why until you become a parent. You realize that you actually want your daughter to marry, to only hang out with men that are able to commit. So random exploration. That exploration usually end up damaging most ladies. I don't want to talk about the guy part, so if you disagree with me, you can make your own video and talk about guys. But most parents want what's in the best interest of their daughter, and mostly they don't want her to start exploring, bringing in different guys, and because they know that eventually it may affect her marriage, in the sense that when she finally wants to settle down, it may have her behavior may have changed. Rotating guys all the time. When you want to finally settle down, it's more difficult to settle down because any small thing you feel that you want to really rotate the guy. So most parents always want their daughter to stay intact, if you know what I mean. Graduate from university, maybe work 1 or 2 years and marry. So it's not entirely out of place. The behavior of the father is protective in nature. It doesn't mean that there are people who have not done all this exploration and still settled down with good husbands. No, I'm talking about in general. So sometimes when your parents have certain behaviors, don't judge them. There's an era in which they grew in, and sometimes whatever you can see whilst standing up, an elder can see it while sitting down. Whatever you think you're doing now as a young person, you want to explore. They did it when they were young. It's just packaging that they're using to cover up now. They already know the different consequences. And 99% of the times, parents are always correct about choice of what do you call it, spouse, marriage. I've observed and I say, yeah, whenever your parents are having issues with you marrying one person or the other, eventually that issue is going to show up. You understand? Even if you go ahead and do the marriage and everything, somewhere down the marriage, that issue, that thing they are fearing will eventually show up. And you better be strong enough to handle it. So if you're disagreeing with your parents on who to marry, if you're disagreeing, it's okay. Just know that, just be ready to handle the fallout later in case their fears come true. You understand? In case their fears come true. If you are trying to date somebody and the person is not, your parents don't really approve of the person, there's something they are seeing that you may not see, and sometimes they may not tell you directly. You understand? They may just be covering up things about you. Now you are inside your mood and everything, and you will not agree. So, but just in general, for anybody facing this scenario, just know that your parents want the best for you. Now you know that, you can factor it into your decision making. If you still decide to go ahead, you should be more self-aware and more conscious that this is what they are saying that made them to suggest that you shouldn't go with this guy, but at the same time you are going with this guy knowing that this might happen, you know. So it's always like that. It's not just African parents. As you can see, the billionaire, one of the richest men in the world, still behaves that way towards his own daughter. So when your parents are having disputes, don't say his African parents are backward African parents. No, it's the normal behavior of any parent. It's a normal behavior. Make sure you follow me if you've not invested in crypto. Alright, just click on my name, send a message, and then I'll guide you through.